Hello everyone, welcome to Courts Today by Live Law, your one-step destination for the latest and fastest legal updates. I'm your host Urvashi Chauhan, bringing you day-to-day happenings, landmark judgments, crucial rulings and expert insights into the world of law. The Delhi High Court today reserved its verdict on the petition filed by Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal challenging his arrest by the CBI in the corruption case in relation to the liquor policy case. Justice Neena Bansal Krishna heard his bail plea and also reserved the order on his interim bail plea. Senior advocates Abhishek Manu Singhvi, N. Hariharan and Vikram Chaudhary represented Kejriwal. Special Public Prosecutor D.P. Singh was the CBI's counsel. Let me tell you, Singhvi contended that Kejriwal's arrest by the CBI was an insurance arrest as an afterthought to the interim bail granted by the Supreme Court in relation to ED case under the PMLA. Singhvi emphasized that despite the apex court's interim bail, Kejriwal is back to square one because of the insurance arrest. Because those who want it by hook or by crook, he is behind bars. Singhvi further stated that Kejriwal has 3 release orders in his favor and therefore suggested that the CBI's arrest was an insurance arrest. He pointed out that CBI's plea before the trial court to arrest Kejriwal did not specify any provisions under which they sought to make the arrest, nor was any prior notice given to Kejriwal. Singh then argued and said that CBI has the right to decide the timing of calling the accused. He pointed out that Kejriwal's role was not evident at first and the excise policy fell under the purview of the excise minister. However, whenever his involvement became relevant, he was called by the CBI. While reserving order on Kejriwal's plea challenging his arrest and interim bail, Justice Krishna fixed the hearing for the Chief Minister's regular bail plea on 29th July. Stay tuned with us. In the next update, the Punjab and Haryana High Court has granted bail to farmers protester Navdeep Singh, arrested in March for allegedly breaking barricades at Shambhu border in connivance with other protesters during the enforcement of order under Section 144 of CRPC. Singh was arrested for attempt to murder and other sections under IPC, Prevention of Damage to Public Property Act, National Highways Act. The senior advocate appearing for Singh argued that investigation is complete, challan stands presented, and conclusion of trial will take long time to conclude as out of 52 prosecution witnesses, none have been examined so far. He asserted that similarly situated co-accused Gurkirat has also been granted bail by the trial court. Opposing the bail, the State Council argued that the petitioner is involved in another FIR also. After hearing the submissions, while noting that the challan was presented in May and that the petitioner has already suffered sufficient period in custody, that is a period of 3 months and 15 days, and that the co-accused has also been granted bail by the trial court, the High Court did not find any reason to deny the concession of bail. The Supreme Court is set to examine the issue of applicability of provisions of tax deduction at source or TDS on the allowances given to judicial officers under the Second National Judicial Pay Commission or the SNJPC. The court is examining this issue in the All India Judges Association case in which it is overseeing the implementation of recommendations of the Pay Commission. During the hearing, the amicus curiae K. Parmeshwar told the bench that many states are imposing TDS on the allowances given to judicial officers. He said that the issue required a determination. Additional Solicitor General N. Venkataraman sought time to examine the question of TDS applicability with the Revenue Department of the Ministry of Finance. Accordingly, the bench comprising CJI D.Y. Chandrachud and Justices J.B. Pardewala and Manoj Mishra posted the matter on 5th August for further deliberation. Additionally, the court directed that the issue of applicability of the National Pension Scheme to district court judges will be heard on 22nd July. If you remember, in January this year, the top court in its decision in the All India Judges Association directed the states to implement the recommendations of the Second National Judicial Pay Commission regarding the pay and allowances for judicial officers. The judgment set the deadline of 29th February 2024 for the states to pay the arrears to judicial officers in terms of the recommendations of the Pay Commission. The court also directed the High Courts to constitute a committee named Committee for Service Conditions of the District Judiciary to oversee the implementation. A city court in Bengaluru has dismissed a private complaint filed against Prime Minister Narendra Modi for his alleged hate speech in Rajasthan against the Muslim community. The court dismissing the complaint filed by an activist who claimed that Modi had made a derogatory speech at Banswara in Rajasthan on 21st April, instigating people to treat the particular community members as intruding usurpers who have taken away the wealth of this nation for themselves. Further, he had also threatened that if the Congress party comes to power at the center, it will take away the earnings of the communities and give them to Muslims. And now let me tell you, the Calcutta High Court has restrained the West Bengal Chief Minister Mamta Banerjee from making any defamatory statements against the governor C.V. Anand Bose in a defamation suit filed by the governor against the Chief Minister. The suit comes in the aftermath of the chief minister allegedly making comments against the governor, stating that she had been informed by women that they did not feel safe visiting the Raj Bhavan due to the recent allegations of sexual harassment against the governor by a former Raj Bhavan employee. A single bench of Justice Krishna Rao passed the interim order upon stating that the governor was a constitutional authority who could not defend himself against such remarks on any platform, and that if the chief minister was not restrained from making defamatory statements, it would cause irreparable loss and injury to the governor. And lastly, the Karnataka High Court has held that a person watching child pornography material online cannot be charged for an offence under Section 67B of the Information Technology Act. As per the complaint in this case, one person named Inatullah N had viewed a website which holds in it pornographic material of children. The complaint came to be registered after about 2 months on the aforesaid incident. The petitioner contended that he was a porn addict and never intended to circulate anything, as he was himself only viewing the existing website. The prosecution opposed the plea, submitting that the petitioner had admittedly indulged in watching child pornography. Therefore, such things should not be permitted to be continued. Referring to Section 67B of the Act, which punishes those persons who would publish, transmit the material depicting children in sexually explicit acts in electronic form, a single judge bench of Justice M. Nagprasanna quashed the proceedings initiated against the accused in this case and said that the allegation against him is that he watched a pornographic website. This, in view of the court, was not publishing or transmitting of the material as is necessary under Section 67B of the IT Act. If you wish to know more details about the cases that I mentioned here, you can visit our website at www.livelaw.in. Stay ahead with quick legal updates only on Live Law. Do not forget to like, share and subscribe and support us. You can also support us by donating through the thanks button at the bottom of our videos, or consider becoming a member at just 89 rupees per month.